Becca was a ringer for Harry. The same round face, dimpled cheeks, but pretty. On Harry, those features looked like a frog's. She herself had always preferred Queen Vashti, the beauty standing up to the king's pointless commands over the bleeding, vapid Esther. So she was in Harry and Karen's guest room. Silly of her not to recognize it straight away when she'd lived there after Harry forced her to leave Italy, yammering as he always did about her extravagance. If only she were home. Her real home in New York, not the apartment where she'd been staying the last few weeks. She could send someone for tea and a masseuse. At least she could take a shower. She pulled off her pantyhose and dropped them on the floor. The guest bathroom was at the other end of the hall, so she couldn't undress in here, but she could take off her bra. It had slipped up on her in the night and was digging into her breasts. No wonder she felt as though she were being choked. There was a large stain down the front of the blouse. Had that been there when she put it on? She hoped she hadn't embarrassed herself by wearing dirty clothes to a restaurant. She draped the blouse around her shoulders, the silk cool against her nipples. Maybe it was long enough to use as a dressing gown. As she measured the ends against her thighs, Harry's bellow sounded. "Is she going to sleep all day? Where does she think she is? Goddamn New York in a goddamn Plaza Hotel?" A female murmuring, too soft for her to tell if it was Karen or Becca, and then Harry's bellow again. "Go in there and get her up. She's been asleep since 4, which God knows is longer than I have, and I want to talk to Her Royal Highness." A diffident knock, followed by Becca's head poking around the door. "Oh, you're awake. Daddy wants to talk to you." She pointed to her throat and shook her head. "You've lost your voice?" Becca asked, coming all the way into the room. She was 14 now, her teeth white behind the barricade of braces, but her hair still a wiry cloud. Instead of Queen Esther's blue flowing robe, she wore layered tank tops over shorts and combat boots. "Janice, are you up? We need to talk." Harry's blare made her wince. "She's lost her voice," Becca called back, enjoying the drama. "Then she can goddamn find it." Harry stomped into the room, but seeing her breasts exposed beneath the draped silk blouse, he blushed and looked away. He grabbed Becca and tried to frog march her from the room. Becca wriggled free. "Oh, Daddy, you act like nobody I know has breasts. We see each other naked all the time after soccer. I look at my own, for pity's sake." "And don't talk to me like that. I'm not one of your classmates." It was an automatic plea, lacking conviction. "Janice, button up your damned shirt and come into the kitchen. We're going to talk." Someone had dumped her jacket and purse on the floor by the dresser. She picked up the jacket and made a great show of arranging it neatly on the back of the chair, pulling on the sleeves to straighten them, while Harry snapped futilely behind her. Another show of fussing in her purse for a pen. "Hot tea," she wrote in block capitals on the back of an envelope that she found on the dresser. "Shower." She gave Becca the envelope and went down the hall to the bathroom, drowning Harry's protests by turning on the taps full blast. When the room was filled with steam, she stepped under the shower and started kneading the muscles in her shoulders. She let the spray bathe the back of her throat, gargling slightly, then turned her back to the water and gently trilled her tongue along the edge of her front teeth. Using the trill, she moved up and down a half scale in the middle of her range, barely making a sound. When her neck muscles started to relax, she began a series of vowel exercises, still staying in the middle of her range, but letting the sound increase a little. After perhaps 20 minutes of vocalizing, someone hammered on the bathroom door. But there wasn't any point in responding. It was undoubtedly Harry. Not only did she know what he had to say, she'd only get a chill and have to start over if she stopped now. For another 10 minutes, she eased her voice into shape within the protective steam, until she deemed it safe to get out of the shower and finish exercising in the music room. She carefully wrapped her throat in a towel before leaving the tub, keeping her neck covered as she dried herself, then kicking the used towels into a pile in the direction of the clothes hamper. A cotton dressing gown hung on the back.